Well, I have to say, it's been a really interesting last few days on FishTube. And why do I say that? I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing what's actually sort of happening right now. The snowball effect has begun. And what I mean by that is many of you that visit me regularly, lots of my loyal commenters, they'll know my narrative for pretty much the last year plus when it comes to clear water and especially UV use. I mean, I came onto YouTube. It's been a year and a half, a little more. I'll be 2 years in April with the fish thing. I joined in 2018 actually, and I started doing the AI robots thing, and that did really well. I monetized in like a week, hundreds of thousands of views. And then, COVID hit, there was a chip shortage, and all the AI robots that I was buying up, just there was no more on the market. Everyone stopped making them, and I gave up. It killed my channel. I came back, and I decided, hey, I want to get back in the fish hobby, and I went for discus. Here I am, right? And getting back into the hobby, I'm experienced from years and years ago, but lots have changed. And then I jump on YouTube thinking, oh wow, it's an excellent resource to learn. And without knowing what was going on, because all of this swamp tank stuff was already well underway when I showed up. And because it was well underway, I'm listening to what's being said, and I knew what I knew, and I had done some additional research, and I do understand that things changed, but I was hearing things that just didn't make sense. So I started speaking up and saying, well, why don't you solve this problem with UV? I've discovered UV. It wasn't around decades ago. It is now. What a fantastic tool. And I would get criticized, chastised, treated like the black sheep, spoke to like I was speaking the worst blasphemy out of some religious text that anyone could ever speak. And it went like that from channel to channel. I'm just trying to have a friendly discussion. I don't realize motivations behind these people at that time. And it was very confusing for me. And then I was trying to follow their advice to see what it's all about. I even built a tank like that. There's videos on my channel of it as well. I built two kinds of no water change tanks. They both ended up smelling like swamp. They were disgusting, and none of it made sense to me. So as time went on, I continued to, people would start talking about problems, and I would be in a social media live stream or something, and I would bring up, hey, why don't you try some UV? And I'd get the ghastliest looks from fellow fish tubers, because everyone bought into this swamp tank nonsense, this Wallstead stuff, so hardcore, and UV would be basically its enemy. It would make it like, why am I doing Wallstead if I'm running UV? Well, I've explained that in my series. I've placed those videos now on a playlist, so you can see the more recent ones. And I'm going to go back and pick through my videos and start adding the old ones too. I've got a long history of talking about this subject. But in the last, I'd say week and a half, I've really been sort of hammering it again, because I've been seeing a lot more discus die to the Wallstead method. And then now a certain individual that I refer to as the Jim Jones of fish keeping, he's back to recommending discus in a Wallstead setup, which is really just that sets me off, because you're not just hurting the fish, but you're hurting the keeper. The person who's going to watch that channel is going to be the person like me a year and a half ago. It's either coming back to the hobby or new to the hobby to begin with. He's going to think this nonsense is gospel, and he's not going to learn how to look after these fish. So I quickly realized back then, when I started this, that I needed to make a channel. I needed to make a channel that documented my entire experience from start to finish as a noob. And then I would show people how all my failures. I would show people, oh my God, look, this is working for me. And I did that every single day for the last year and a half. And the entire time, I swear to God, nearly, not entirely, because like I said, I have loyal followers that just saw the light long ago like I did. They've agreed with me the whole time. But when it comes to the FishTube community, very few, if none, gave me any respect whatsoever. And I don't believe they're going to even still. But, and I really don't care. I'm not here to impress fellow fish tubers. I'm here to hopefully impress on the new fish keeper that wants to learn how to keep their fish alive. So I started going against the grain, and I've been mistreated because of it. But the interesting thing is this last week, I've been putting out these videos, and there was a live stream with a very big YouTuber on it, like a huge one. Not these little guys that pick on me that really, don't matter. I'm talking about a big one. And someone asked him a question about Jim Jones, but he called him the correct name. And that individual basically got annoyed, went off, and started sounding like me. And he even was replicating, and as he should. I mean, anyone with common sense would feel the same way if you're an actual fish keeper. But he was replicating the things that I was saying. I don't know if he watches my videos. I can't say that he does. I hope that he did, and maybe I made him think. And I think that might be true, because he also started using some of the terminology I was using, like the cult terminology, for example. So I found that very interesting. And since that video came out about 3 days ago, all sorts of other fish tubers are like smelling blood in the water, right? Smelling blood in the water. I smelled it so long ago. I even was talking about blood in the air or blood in the water like a week ago. Anyway, they're smelling blood in the water, and they're all jumping on the bandwagon. Several of them. There's 5 or 6 right now, just all jumping on the bandwagon, and they're adopting the narrative. And I don't care. Like, I don't care. I think it's great. Like, don't just get the message out there. That's the important thing. That's really the important thing. If that's all that happens in this, I'm a happy man, because I don't care who gets the message. I hope you all do. I really do, because like everything else that starts off with good intentions, this swamp tank stuff's just gone to obscurity. It's anything for clicks now. They're so dependent on it, and they're going to tell you can put everything and the kitchen sink into a Wallstead tank, and you simply can't. Unless you highly adapt it, and by the time you've highly adapted it, it's no longer a Wallstead tank. So, it either is one or it isn't one. And a Wallstead tank is very low flow, very low oxygen, a sponge filter or two, and a whole bunch of plants, and very deep substrate, and no water changes, and occasional top-ups. That's a Wallstead tank, and you cannot put like dozens of species of fish in that environment, or you're just basically performing animal abuse. And that's been my message, and I hope that message continues, and I hope other people carry it and take it along. And if you do, bravo, because you're doing the right thing for fish, you're doing the right thing for new fish keepers, and you're doing the right thing to preserve this hobby, because if it continues the way it is, with this fad that's been going on the last few years, we're going to destroy the hobby. That's what's going to happen. I thank you all so much for watching. And yes, I know I've been ranting, but sometimes you need the rant. Sometimes you need to just say, you know what? Enough's enough. And speak your mind, because there hasn't been enough of that in the last 5 years, even the last decade. Heck, it gets worse as you get closer to now, but you can go back 30 years and this stuff's been going on. But it's really bad in the last decade. So things won't get back to normal unless we learn not to be afraid to speak our minds. And that's all I've done. Again, I don't attack individuals. I attack concepts. I attack animal abuse. And that's it. And if people want to hate me for it, that's fine. The animals will love me. I don't need you.